Good evening once again, Snaking. Nice couple of games there you guys managed to crank out. And I've got to say, I really didn't see that comeback being brought back from game number 2. That was definitely a bit of a rough match. But I want to ask straight up there, what was Viper? You do pick up Viper every now and then. What sort of role do you see him within the team?
We believe Viper should be the one. He should be the most farmed in a game, because a Viper farm with Aghanim Stick against heroes like Night Stalker, Undying, they literally can't do anything because they can't move. And I think it was a good pick, but their tri-lane was a bit strong and we were losing an early game.
Okay, so when you get into that situation, obviously with a tri-lane, it becomes a bit of an issue. You've got the dual lane that it can't really do a whole lot against it. How do you guys respond to that?
We just knew that the bottom had just continued to get EXP like it was while Enigma jungle, because we had a jungler and they didn't, and as well as Rubik was doing well against Clinks. And then all we need to do is just do some exchange and then team fight them, and we should be able to come on top with the better team fight that we had.
Okay, so yeah, no, you definitely felt like you had the better team fight. You had a couple of good attempts early on that sort of backfired horribly, although I think that was coming down to I think it was Fogged. He managed to miss one of his, managed to miss one of his black holes there, which kind of threw out a team fight in mid. But let me say, what do you think? What do you think Absolute Legends did wrong in that game? Because it really looked like they had a solid upper hand there in game number 2.
They definitely did, but they just got caught out of position too many times, as you saw, like the middle Undying, Night Stalker, and then the 4 heroes at middle, Jakiriel, Green of Pain, everyone but Night Stalker. I personally thought that they should have stuck more together if they wanted S5, if they wanted the team fight, or else they should just farm their side of the map, because during the later part of that game, we gained back the control of our jungle, and they just got caught out in our jungle, and simply just got wiped there, and we got Roshan and everything. Just went our way after.
Okay, and I've got another question here. The build that obviously A has some different, I'm going to call them different builds for a lot of heroes. He's one of the few people that rushes stuff like Mantis style and his Broodmother. But the item build for Viper, straight into a mech, and then he goes from a mech into the Aghanim Scepter. What's his reasoning behind that?
Because Mechanism is honestly good on any hero, because it gives armor and stats and then heals. But and also, we didn't want Enigma to get mech because it would slow down his BKB too much, so the mech was on Viper, and then Viper actually does really good DPS with Aghanims compared to like Manta style other items, because the ultimate becomes a 12-second cooldown, and it's just a complete lockdown on those heroes such as Undying, Jakiro, anything but Blinker, and it really was showing its effect in team fights, because Night Stalker was not doing much at all.
Indeed. Now, you had a bit of a fun strategy in the first game. There's sort of a take on EG's Knight strategy, when they run the Omnight in the Sven, running around there, causing trouble. I'm going to say, like, you guys, you crushed that game fairly effectively. It did take close to 40 minutes to win it, but at no point did you guys really look like you were slipping away, except for the point where they managed to crank, first couple of minutes after Bounty Hunter got his Diffusal Blade. But what do you think in the first match really let down your opponents?
What they did wrong?
Yeah.
I simply think they were just outpicked. I mean, they couldn't teamfight us whatsoever. We had Omni Knight and Chen. It's just too much heal. And then they just didn't have enough burst to deal with anything. And Sven with Repel, I mean, with whips, it's just absurd. There's nothing you can do about it.
Indeed. Now, I see Bloody John is asking, he's questioning what you said about the Viper. He said, you want a Viper to farm, but you let him solo the bottom lane versus a tri-lane. Would you ever considered rotating Viper to the top lane and sending Rubik with a bit of help down bottom to face off against the tri-lane?
We would never do that, because the Clinks would absolutely rape the Viper in a 1 versus 1 situation, because Strafe on Viper he would not even be able to lane. And even if Rubik comes back bottom, he's not going to be able to do much, because after Ali 2000 fed a few times on the Viper, the lane was lost, and we knew that it was not recoverable against Undying, Night Stalker, and Jakiriel. It's a very strong tri-lane, and we just knew we just had to probably come back the mid or late game, because the early game, once they got the momentum with nighttime, it came at 6-minute mark. It was just too big of a swing for us to deal with at that time.
Okay. Now, of course, we've got a couple of new faces in the league. I'm actually interested. How do you guys feel you're going to fare against a couple of the newer, stronger teams? Obviously, another big Sven user was no Tidehunter. How do you feel going up against them in the near future?
Um, I think we're pretty confident. We definitely respect No Talent as a team, but actually they didn't turn off their scrims. I mean spectators on their scrims, and everyone was able to observe what they did, and everyone saw the Sven plays, and then you just ban Sven and or a couple of their key heroes that they always pick, and they just sort of fall apart. It's especially evident in the games we played against NTH in the best out of 3.
Okay, well, I'm kind of expecting some first bans on the Syllabear as well as the Sven then if you guys go up against them. Anyway, anyway, Snaking, thanks for your time here. I'm just checking to see when are we going to see you next. We're going to see you up against Eclipsia on the 12th. How do you feel about going up against them?
I think they're fairly a new team, so I don't think they got their act together just yet. So I think it would not be too much for us.
I gotta agree. I feel like you guys are definitely the favourites coming into this. But you know, I'm gonna give you a chance here. Shout out to any streams or social media you want to give a call out to.
Definitely my Twitch TV, twitch.tv/snaking, and this was my Twitter, snaking Dota 2, as well as to my sponsors from Dignitas, Antec, Alienware, twitch.tv. Thank you for having me here.
Alright, thanks, Snaking. I'll see you later.